Advisor Jake Sullivan has made a comment just a while back saying that President Biden would have a straightforward communication with Prime Minister Modi. This was in the context of our position on Ukraine, perhaps. You think that West's push to get India more neutral or perhaps more towards their side is still there, that pressure is still there?
India has a side, and it is its own side. So therefore, India will remain on its own side. It will take care of its own national interest. It will see where it should fit in, and then it will decide how to fit it in.
Quad Leaders Summit, fourth since last Jan when President Biden took over, second in person. Quad again becoming relevant, gaining some salience, and India on that diplomatic high table. How you see that vantage from here in Tokyo?
This is a wonderful news which is happening, and many of the issues which have been discussed, positive issues in particular, have been taken up by Quad leadership, all the four countries together, and they are working with other countries as well. So if I look at briefly, that peace, security, rule of law, and free navigation of seas is what it all makes Quad a success story. Here, it's not targeted against a country. It is basically an architecture which promotes the peace and security of the region. And this region happens to be Indo-Pacific.
So you mentioned that it's not targeted any country, but when we talk about Indo-Pacific, we know that the elephant in the room, we are talking about China. But if we don't get into specifics, the fact is that Quad began as a security dialogue. It was called Quad Security Dialogue. So when the four leaders meet on 24th, you think that element of security and hence coordinated defense could get reflected, could get discussed?
See, it all depends how do you define security. Is security only arms and ammunitions? Or security is geopolitics? Or security includes energy security, food security, or any other kind of security, health security, for example, at this point of time? So all these are matters to secure your own environments and, in fact, the region and the world. So therefore, I would see that, yes, it is still, it has security on its agenda, but it is not the only agenda. It's a positive agenda which wants to take forward the societies, the people who live in these societies. So therefore, my own submission is that the Quad leaders keep talking to each other in order to make the region and the world probably more secure.
Right. Let's talk about Japan also, because we are here and there would be a bilateral component also. Australian Prime Minister just taking over. So the bilateral with President Biden, you said straightforward communication. And with Japan, what are the engagements lined up so far as India-Japan relationship is concerned? Important engagements.
So when I look state-to-state relationship or engagements, then there will be bilateral with the Prime Minister of Japan. And there will be an intimate dinner between the two leaders, that is Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi and the Japanese Prime Minister. So these are the two Japan-specific events from the government-to-government perspective. But there are other events with business. There are events with. There is an event with the Indian diaspora, and in fact, there is not enough time left to do anything else.
What kind of numbers we are looking at in terms of the bilateral relationship?
Well, just 2 months back, Japanese Prime Minister visited India, and the two leaders, between the two of them, have set a target for us to follow, which is 5 trillion Japanese yen in next 5 years of public, private, and financial investment in India. That's a big ask. $8 billion a year on an average, or even more than $8 billion a year on an average, is not a small task given to us, considering that Japan has been investing close to about, say, $3.5 to $4 billion a year on an average. So I think all of us will pull up our socks and move ahead.
Any specific project? You know, we talk about bullet train, which is on fast track, with a lot of Japanese component there. Any other specifics? And if you could say something about the bullet train as well?
Bullet train is doing well. It's a very complicated project. And the complication is not only technology, its implementation is also complicated. The technology has to be taken from Japan to India, most of the technologies. India has to prepare the groundwork for getting the Shinkansen, which is the high-speed railways working in India. So there are a lot of challenges, and these challenges are being tackled one by one. And looks like that, yes, we are a little delayed, but at the same time, we are also looking forward to probably having something running 2026-27.
Right. 26-27 for the bullet train in India. Right, sir. My final question. India on the diplomacy's high table. What has changed for Indian diplomacy? Because recently there was this controversy that Indian diplomacy is a little arrogant.
Any diplomacy needs to have the strength from the country. Our country is strong today, and therefore what we bring to the table is very different from what we used to bring to the table earlier. We bring to the table today constructive engagement. We bring to the table today positive engagements. And therefore, that is what is going to change the world. We are also non-discriminatory. So we follow a certain morale in our politicking and our international politics. So therefore, I would say that India has become an essential country on any high table in the world today.